Hello folks, welcome to episode 6 of this ABC Journeyman save. I'm the Custard Prophet. We're back here at the end of season 1 with Andover Town, our first club. And as you can see, we are in the hunt for the playoffs still with 3 games remaining. We have a fairly significant game against 4th place Fawley, which is right up next. They are just 1 point ahead of us, but there are a group of perhaps 5 teams now who potentially have the chance to get one of 2 places available in the playoffs. Can we be one of them? We're going to find out in today's episode. Right, folks, yes, there's lots and lots of stuff to get through in today's episode. There are 3 games of the season remaining. We are going to play all of those. Yes, all of them. We're probably going to have extensively cut down highlights, but we'll do them all, and hopefully at the end of all that we will end up in the top 5 places. We've been in there for a lot of the time, and we've got to play Fawley, as we said, who are 1 place above us. We've also got to play Downton at home, who are 1 place below us and on the same points as us. So it is in our own hands. If we can win both of those games, that guarantees us a playoff position. What happens after that? Well, we will have to find out, but I think it's going to be a challenge to topple either Romsey Town or Petersfield Town, who will be in the playoffs with us if we get there, who have comfortably beaten us every single time we've played them. The rest of the league, it's a little bit more even. Lots of stuff's happened though. Let's just jump into a few of those things that have gone on. Well, Ben Hayes, our left big midfielder, here he is here. He has left the club by mutual consent. He missed training, and I got annoyed with him. And he has left. He's played 4 games for us. He's scored just a single goal. He had a 1-star rating or half a star rating, and with potential of reaching, I think, 1.5 stars. It was just not really going to get anywhere at this club, and he didn't really have a lot going for him other than his acceleration, which was pretty useful down that left side. So goodbye Ben Hayes, another player to have left the club. Importantly, we have also just signed up Andy Hall here, probably one of our most important players to the club, for a £25 per week wage for another year. So that's really important. Andy Hall, as you can see below, he's got 16 assists in this in the division, which is massive. 7 goals. He's just a very well-rounded player for this level. There was lots of interest in him. He's 37. He's still reasonably fast, but that's because of his 12 natural fitness. So we're very, very pleased to have him around for another year. We have had our youth intake, and that has come through. You will see we have not offered everyone a contract here. We obviously have a bit of an issue with finances, so we've only really been able to offer the players who are happy to accept a youth contract of £5 per week. If they needed anything more than that, well, we haven't really been able to offer them that. There's some good potential prospects here, but I'm a bit gutted. Chris Broom, we weren't able to sign. He is a wide man, and I think he would add to what we have, but I just couldn't justify paying £20 a week for a player that I'm not sure is going to fit into the team quite yet. John Walsh was another one, left back, who looks reasonable left back already. Okay, he's a bit slow, but again, he wanted a contract of £20 per week. The only player that we have offered that amount of money is Mark Fowler, another goalkeeper. I think there are definitely problems with this guy's game, but he potentially could get into our team as top choice goalkeeper. I think he's probably just a little bit below Kessel, but he's better than our next goalkeeper, which is good. He's got good agility, very good handling, which we like, good aerial reach. He's pretty tall. And very, very good reflexes. There are some problems there. Communication of 3 isn't great, but I'm pretty happy to have him on board and in the club. And we've also signed up a bunch of other guys, and they will be introduced as they go. But a huge amount who I wasn't able to sign up, or who I didn't think would add to what we have already. We've got to be careful with this because obviously we've got a very tight budget. Finances wise, we are currently spending £454 per week, and we have a budget of £481, which is going to be reduced to £450. As you can see, this is getting tighter and tighter. What I can say is that next year we are going to be losing a bunch of players. So with the youth players that we've brought in, plus a couple of other players probably, we should still be able to live within that £450 budget. But it's tight as heck, and we are really struggling to get the finances on track. One of the places I have shut things down is in the scouting budget. We were spending 1.5k per month on scouting. I've basically just shut that down completely, and I'm not putting any money into scouting at all. So there we go. And we're also, as a couple of extra staff members I don't think are necessary, and we'll be saving about £100 a month there. Maybe think it's a little bit more than that, maybe about £400 a month on those staff members. So about 2k a month we are able to save doing that. It's hopefully going to be enough to steady the ship and get us on more of an even keel, because we are losing money every single month. Not great. So in the last episode, you saw a couple of 2-0 losses against Tooting and Ealing and Romsey Town, as we were systematically dismantled by the two best teams in the league. Thought we did quite well against Romsey, and I thought it gave us hope for matches to come. Well, it's not been bad since then. You can see we lost the next match out against Fleetlands. I thought this was a little disappointing. I think a 1-1 draw would have been more appropriate. Late goal from Lee Hall there, which cancelled out Baden Rolls' earlier effort. So we lost there, and that was 3 losses on the trot. We went off to the Isle of Wight and played Newport. This time we did really nicely. We came back twice from behind, Poirot and Metcalf with the goals, and I thought a 2-2 draw, we were well deserved for that. Massively crazy game against Millbrook at home, who were struggling in the league. They're bottom of the league. I don't know quite why we made such a meal of this, but we scored lots of goals. Couple of goals for Guest, couple of goals for Adrian Melody, who you won't have seen yet, and 1 for Metcalf. Fleet Spurs were next up, and we beat them comfortably 3-0. Pruvot, Betteridge and Metcalf. And then we've just beaten Hamworthy, Rec, Guest and Adrian Melody with another goal. Who is this Adrian Melody, you ask? Well, look at him here. He is a striker with a little bit of pace, which is not something we've got much of in the team. He's got very little strength, but no one at this level seems to have much strength. He's got a low determination, which isn't great, and a shoots from distance trait with a long shots of 4, which isn't great. So finishing is terrible, but he's still managing to, and his passing is terrible, and his vision is terrible, but he's managing to find passes and actually score goals. So whilst that continues, we will be very happy with that. But he's currently sitting in 2 starts and 1 sub appearance with 3 goals and 4 assists, with an average rating of 8.17. So we'll have a little bit of that when we can have it. Anyway, folks, that's everything I wanted to say before our matches. Let's get into seeing some football. First up is Fawley, and we are away from home against the team directly above us. This is going to be a challenging one, as is the next one against Downton. Ash United, they're 15th in the league. Hopefully we will have enough about us to get something off that, but we have struggled a little bit away from home against a variety of teams. So come on, let's do this. Okay, so we are starting out with this team. Betteridge is going to be playing alongside Pruvot. On the left side is Guest. He's been really well actually since he's started a few games. Hall is doing well on the right, but he cannot get anything going with his right back counterpart, and it's all down to the right back, nothing to do with him. But we've got two crap right backs, basically, both of whom will be leaving at the end of the season, and I will be pushing them out the door myself. Metcalf and Chambers in the centre, back line of Edwards on the left, yes I know, Castle, Besant and Hilton on the right, with Kessel in goal for the minute. We have got the Adrian Melody on the bench. He can play on the left side as well. We've got Dubidat as well, so we've got a couple of players who can fill in up top, as well as Weir Daly, who is cover for right side and also in the centre of defence. So let's see how we do here. I think this is going to be a challenging one, but we're going to push for at least a draw here. I think that would be an excellent result if we can get it. Right, we're kicking off. Well, that's a nice start here. Lovely little header to Guest. Are we going to get anything out of this early doors? Ball round the corner, trying to get Guest in, didn't manage it. Baubley plays it over, and it's well defended by Besant, who has no right to be as good as he's been all season, but we won't worry about that. Kessel plays it long. Nice header into Guest. Doing very well. It's Poirot. That's who we want to have the ball, and he scored a beautiful goal. And we go 1-0 up against Fawley, and this would be an awesome result if we can finish 1 goal ahead of Fawley, particularly as the board, I hadn't noticed this, is say it's a requirement for us to finish in the playoffs, so I may get sacked if we don't. Here's Jones though, trying to get one back immediately. It's over the top. Castle's putting pressure on him. Metcalf. It's Guest. Just a poor ball. I was sort of saying how well the those two play together. There's Betteridge. Massive mistake from Baubley, and it's 2-0. And Betteridge makes the absolute most of a complete hash by the centre-back there. And we're in a really good place after 17 minutes, aren't we? Ball over the top. I don't know what the defender was doing, but Betteridge just pokes it past the goalkeeper. 2 excellent finishes, and we're 2-0 up. Both strikers scoring. Baldy in goal. Yeah, I'm sure he likes to be called that. It looks like maybe a chance here. There's a mistake from Besant, rare mistake, and it's Hogg who finishes well for Fawley. So they are back in it at 27 minutes. Poor defensive play from Besant after we'd been praising him. Simple ball over the top. Besant just stood there, completely got it wrong, and goalkeeper did absolutely nothing. But 32 minutes on the clock. Can we create another bit of magic ourselves? Ball over the top. Betteridge doing really well. Poirot does absolutely fantastically there. Controlled it on his chest under enormous pressure, and managed then to slot it past the keeper despite having a defender right next to it. This is absolute lovely little header from Betteridge, but that was beautiful. And then with all those defenders crowding around it, Poirot picked his spot past the goalkeeper. 3-1. Here's Hall, chips it in. Castles, it's 4-1. Oh, this is absolute fantastic. We are in dreamland. This is what we wanted to see. Can we hold on? Because this would be absolutely massive. A 4-1 victory over Fawley. There we go. Castles with the header. Well, what a half of football. We have been absolutely dominant all the way through it. We need to continue this. We need to make sure that we come out of this with a victory, because we have given away leads that were equivalent to this in the past. Right, 52 minutes on the clock. There's a bit of pressure here. Metcalf, though, has won it back. Edwards, long. Betteridge, another mistake from Baubley. Betteridge here, and he's just slotted it past the goalkeeper. What are they doing? This Fawley side are supposed to be one of the better sides in the league, but we have dismantled them. And it's not really anything that we've done. I mean, yes, the defending, the finishes have been good, but I mean, what was that defender doing? It's abysmal defending twice. So we brought on Adrian Melody for guests, so you get to see this lad. He's not played on the left side before, so that'll be interesting to see how well this works out. Some interesting scores going on elsewhere. At the minute, the team, one of the teams below us, whose name eludes me, were beating top of the table 3-0, but they're actually back to 3-2 now. With 10 minutes to go, so that might be a lovely comeback as Metcalf fires it in. And in the other match, that's 6-1. In the other match, Downton are beating Newport 3-1. So, wow, whatever happens here, that's a lovely effort, but yeah, it's wide. And look at that. Totton and Ealing have pulled it back from 3-0 down against Whitchurch. And this is huge because Whitchurch are one of the teams that are just below us. So if that finishes 3-3, that'll be massive. And Newport Isle of Wight have just pulled it back to 3-2. So if that one could end 3-3, that would be a huge result for us. So Nichols and Jubidar came on late, but it finished 6-1. Cracking performance from Andover, about as good a performance as we have shown all season, and it was exactly when we needed it, so that is massive. Let's go and find out what the league table looks like now, because with those results going the way that they might have gone, we don't know how it finished at against and we don't know how the Isle of Wight, Newport Isle of Wight game finished. If that went in our favour, then that might look really good for our chances in the playoffs. Let's go and have a look. Big changes. In the end, Downton did beat Newport 3-2. And it was an impressive performance because that may have stayed 1-1. The other big result was Whitchurch drawing with Totton and Ealing, which means that we are now 4 points ahead of Whitchurch, which it's starting with just 3 games to go, with just two games to go. That gap feels potentially a little bit too big to pull back, particularly with our goal difference. That makes it almost 5 points. They have to win both games, and we have to lose both. We have to lose 2 games essentially. Does that work? I don't know. Well, hello folks. I was hoping to give you a couple more live games in a sort of bumper final episode of the season. One against Downton, who are sitting in 5th, 1 place and 1 point behind us, and one away against Ash United, who are in 13th but in a decent run of form. But unfortunately, the YouTube gods said no, and the audio didn't record for those 2 games. So we'll have a little bit of a different format for these. We'll be doing some highlights. But what you need to know is if we draw or beat Downton, we give ourselves a really good chance. If we don't, the cat is very much amongst the pigeons. Let's go and see how things panned out. So the squad versus Downton is very similar to the one we've just played. Adamson coming in for the suspended Metcalf. Things started fairly disappointingly though for Andover. Downton were playing the ball well around, and Dovell put it through to McGregor after just 7 minutes. We were 1-0 down. Really nicely put together move. We did have a chance then soon after that, and after Hall won the ball on this right side, he finds Chambers, who slung the ball in with Betteridge trying to get on the end of it. It was all the way into the goal, but it was disallowed. Not quite sure what the referee saw there. We get to half time, we're 1-0 down. We need a goal desperately. We need shots as well. Early on in the second half, after 55 minutes, We get the ball at the back here. Betteridge does well, but couldn't find his man. However, Hall picks the pocket of the defender and Betteridge just gets in there. Brilliant interplay between these two. And this goal puts us 1-1 and now ahead of Downton. A couple of changes towards the end. Gueston and Prouveau coming off. Jubidar and Melody on. Hopefully that change in attacking player can make the difference. Well, we were hoping it might, and looked like we might have a chance here with Melody misplaced his pass, and beautiful ball through to Goodall, and Goodall finished past the goalkeeper and went to 2-1. Unfortunately, we huffed and we puffed after that, but in the end, Andover were not good enough, and Downton actually had the better of it in the end of the second half. This was a good effort from Pearce, just shot over the bar. But that was it, full time, and we did the disappointing thing, losing 2-1 to Andover Town, 2-1 to Downton. That is the last thing we needed, and we were out of the playoff spots. Both Downton and Fawley getting themselves victories. So the final match of the season, it's all important. We are playing Ash United, who are in 13th place. It's not going to be an easy one. They're in some form. The teams above us, Downton and Fawley, are playing Hamsworth Rec and Fleet Spurs, who are struggling in the league. Whitchurch United also got an easy game. A couple of changes, or one change, in that Chambers moves to the back line, Nicol into the middle, with Castles out suspended, and it's not the best position in the midfield, but we were hoping we would be good enough to get a win here. We needed it. And it looked early on like we were getting onto the ball, but losing it early, and Rafferty here puts a nice ball in, and Besant, he's made some mistakes recently, pulls his man down and gives away a penalty. We need our goalkeeper to be on his mettle for this one. But as you can see, Kessel saves the weakest of penalties. A few minutes later, Owen fired over. He had a couple of other free kicks soon after that, all of them over the bar. And again here, this was endemic, this quality of players. That time Rafferty went through with bad defending, no one on him. But we were 0-0 at half time and just about holding out. We needed things to change in the second half. But unfortunately, we only got worse in the second half. And here you see Hall, who was a menace all game, put it into Turner. And how did he not score that? Well, after 62 minutes, Owens then put Turner through, even easier chance, and he put it the wrong side of the post. His finishing must be about 3. Kessel here and the whole Andover team were desperately hoping for something to go right for us. And we did find Betteridge, who put the ball, tried to put the ball over Fry, but it dropped straight into his hands. But normal service was resumed shortly after that, as Ash United picked up the ball, and another chance here. This time, I think it was again for Turner this time, who hit the bar when he should have been scoring. Eventually, though, the pressure paid, and it was actually a cracking finish from Takugnadi, who took the lead for Ash United. But what that didn't do was make Andover roll over. We actually came back into this and started playing some reasonable football. And here Perry almost put his man in, but we did get the ball here, and Hall shot when no one expected him to, and he found the bottom of the corner to take it 1-1. We huffed and puffed but couldn't get any further, and we finished 1-1. Would it be enough though? And the answer was no. We finished in 7th in the end, going down to Ash United. Downton got themselves a 2-1 win over Hamsworthy Rec and Fawley. They only drew 2-2 with Fleet Spurs, so we only needed another goal to make this get into the playoffs, but it wasn't to be. In the end, we even dropped behind Whitchurch Town. Yeah, well, folks, it was a really disappointing end to the season. Bottle job extraordinaire, finishing in 7th. You can see we did have a Carlos Betteridge at the highest average rating. He finished in 2nd there. Andy Hall finished top assist maker. And Finn Kessel had the most amount of clean sheets. So lots and lots of positives in there. And all of those players I've mentioned will be here next year. What we can say is that Enrique Russell and Tottenham Ealing won't be here next year in this league. So that is a positive. Now, the big question is, what are the board going to say about this? Because we have one of the things that we needed to do was to finish in the playoff positions. That was a required thing. So are the board going to be happy with that? Let's go and find out. Well, interesting. Just as I'm about to switch everything off, we got this. So, we have been invited into the boardroom to discuss my future. I thought we had a pretty good season. Some really, really good performances. Interestingly, the board have nothing particular of interest to highlight in terms of criticisms. They've got lots of highlights that we did well. It's a C, so I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but the fans aren't happy. So let's see what the board have to say. We're not happy with your current performance and are considering your position at the club. They haven't really performed that badly. Go with that one. We hope you can learn from your mistakes, and a new profession has no justification. We hope you can learn from your mistakes. Being new to the profession is no justification to give you any favours. Well, I think the last thing is, what do I need to say in my job? We'll grant you more time to turn things around, but we will be limiting the wage budget whilst doing so. Oh, right. Right then. Oh, great. Great. Fantastic. So, let's have a look at this limited wage budget. It's actually higher than it was. So, there we go. Anyway, well, we're still in a job, just maybe a little more precarious than I thought. We will, if you enjoyed that little bit of drama over the last however long it's been, then make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.